When your school is through a computer screen, go to Science Corner with Konstantine.
Guess who's back? 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 Guess who's back?
Hello and welcome to another episode of Science Corner with Konstantine. Konstantine is me. If you're just joining us, if you've never seen Science Corner with Konstantine before, my name is Miss Konstantine and I like to make science videos to show my classes video lessons. This all started last year when we couldn't be in regular school for health and safety reasons. As you can see, I've changed locations. I'm back in school, but I'm still gonna make videos. But wait, Miss Konstantine, if you're back in school, why are you still gonna make video lessons? Great question. Couple reasons. One, they were kind of a big hit. And now I've got people watching them who aren't actually my science students, and I have to give the people what they want. Two, the only constant in life is change. So yeah, I'm in my classroom right now, but who knows what's gonna happen a week from now or a month from now. Three, when I'm teaching, I have to wear my mask, and I hate to admit it, but this is the money. Four, the internet is forever. If I keep making these videos, I can keep using them to teach people about science, and I love teaching people about science. I'm still getting used to this new spot. I don't know if this is the Science Corner. It's more of a science table. And we're missing some of our old regulars. But we have some new regulars. And we have these snails. Look at that snail. We have Mr. Bones. He's having a rough day. So now it's time for the first topic of the year, which is, like always, scientific method. Featuring my friend, and hopefully yours, Bob. He's just a circle with a face on it, but people love Bob.
So here we have it, the first lesson of the year, the scientific method, or how scientists solve problems. Remember, as we go through this lesson, fill in your guided notes, and if you need to, pause the video or watch the video again. So to learn about the scientific method, I need to introduce you to Bob. Bob was walking to work one day, and he found a mysterious puddle. So Bob asked a question. He asked, "What is in this puddle?" First, he made an educated guess, or a hypothesis. He guessed that this puddle could be pudding. He made some observations. The puddle was brown, it's liquidy, it's shiny, and he ran some experiments. He smelled the puddle. It didn't smell very good. He tasted the puddle. Didn't taste very good. And now Bob had to organize his data, or his information. The puddle was brown, liquidy, and shiny. It smelled dirty and tasted gross. Chocolate pudding is brown, liquidy, shiny, but it smells like chocolate and it tastes delicious. Did Bob's data support his hypothesis? No, it did not. So he tried again with another hypothesis. Maybe it's mud. So Bob made new observations and he ran new experiments. He smelled the puddle, he looked at the puddle, he tasted the puddle. And he organized his data again. So the puddle was still brown, liquidy, shiny, and smelled dirty and tasted gross. But mud is also brown, liquidy, and shiny, and it smells dirty and tastes gross. Did Bob's data support his hypothesis? Yes, it did. So Bob made a conclusion. The puddle is mud. And he told all of his friends, "Guys, just so you know, this is mud, not pudding. Thanks, Bob." What Bob just did is called the scientific method. The scientific method is the process that scientists use when they want to solve a problem. The scientific method is a series of steps. First, we ask a question, like how Bob asked, "What's in this puddle?" Then we form a hypothesis, like This puddle is pudding. It's an educated guess that answers our question. Then we make observations, like the puddle is brown and shiny. Then we run experiments to test our hypothesis and organize and analyze the data from those experiments. Then we draw a conclusion, which means we see if we can answer our hypothesis. And we communicate the results to all of our friends and colleagues. So now that you're in 7th grade, you're ready to learn that even though Bob is a scientist, he's not a very sophisticated scientist. Sorry, Bob. And that's why we're going to learn about experimental design, or how to do science and do it well. So if you remember the steps of the scientific method, you'll know that one of the most important steps is step 4, which is running an experiment to test the hypothesis. We use the word experiment a lot in our everyday lives, like when we say, I'm just going to experiment with this, or it's an experiment, blah, 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 blah. But scientifically, an experiment is a very specific thing. It has an experimental group, a control group, and variables. And in just a second, I'm going to explain what those 3 things are. But let's return to our friend Bob. Here's a fun fact. Bob loves fish. Now Bob would like to know if he should buy new fish food for his pet fish. So Bob hypothesizes that new fish food will work better than his current fish food. So he decides to run an experiment. Bob sets up 2 fish bowls. In one bowl, fish are fed the regular food. That bowl is going to be called the control group. In the other, fish are fed the new food. That bowl will be the experimental group. In this case, the current food is the control group because that's the food that Bob already feeds his fish. So in theory, he should already know what's going to happen to that bowl. The experimental group, the new food, is what he wants to find out about. That's the one he's really testing. He has both groups so that way he can compare them, because it's a lot easier to compare his new food to his old food if he has the 2 groups running at exactly the same time in exactly the same way. In this case, the variable is the type of food. Over 3 weeks, Bob makes observations and collects data. Qualitative data is descriptive. It doesn't have numbers, like color and appearance. Quantitative data is data that has numbers, like weight or length. Usually, to organize and analyze data, we'll make a table or a graph. Bob organizes his data into a table, so he can easily compare the old food to the new food. He looks at color, total weight of fish, clarity of tank water, and total length. And as you can see, the data for the old food isn't quite as impressive as the data for the new food. Looks like overall, the fish are doing better with the new food. So Bob makes a conclusion. The new food is better. His hypothesis was correct. And he tells all his friends, hey guys, new fish is better. Oh cool, thanks Bob. So let's review some important vocab. A variable is something that changes throughout the experiment, like type of food or size of fish. And variables can be dependent or independent. A dependent variable is a variable that you want to find out about, like the size of the fish or the quality of water. A dependent variable is one that you measure. Independent variables are the variables that you have control over, like the type of food you give the fish. An independent variable is one that you would know as the experiment is starting. The dependent variable is the one that you want to find out about after the experiment ends. And there's always at least 2 groups in the experiment. The control group is the group you treat the same. You don't do anything special to the variable. Like the fish bowl with the old food. We're using it as good information for comparison. The experimental group is the one that you change the variable for in order to see how the new independent variable works, like the fish bowl with the new food. All this time, you collect data, which is information that you can get from an experiment. Qualitative data is data you can describe with words, and quantitative data is data you can describe with a number. Thanks for teaching us about experimental design, Bob. You're welcome. So if you didn't get any of the blanks on your guided notes, feel free to watch the video again and pause.
So there you have it, my inaugural 2020-2021 school year episode of Science Corner with Konstantine. As always, you can like the video, you can subscribe to the channel, whatever you want to do. I'm going to keep making videos because I kind of like doing it. It's more of a table. Science table with Konstantine. Science window with science shelf with science closet with Konstantine. Science chemical room. Science fume hood with Konstantine.